We've hit the time of the year where we do a normal top 10 best and worst of 2023, but as I'm recording this video, I am still going to do those videos, but I'm also going to provide you something different and an idea I want to kind of take on board going forward into the following years. Basically, this video is the top 10 best first time watches of movies I've seen in 2023 but weren't released in 2023, so they can be released from any time from 2022 all the way back from the dawn of time in cinema. So what movies made a real impact on me this year watching them for the first time ever? Well, stick around and let's talk about them. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this top 10 list. It is something that I thought of, something that I hope is kind of like an original idea. Maybe someone has already done this, but I haven't seen that, so it is just something I thought about the other day and I thought, this year so far as I'm recording this video, but I probably will see more. I've seen around 280 movies in total, movies released in 2023 but also movies released from 2022 all the way back to the kind of dawn of time of cinema. And I thought, well, hold on, like what's the best 10 movies I've discovered this year as a first time watch that I've never seen before and finally got around to? Well, without wasting your time, let's get into the top 10 list. But just before we do, I want to mention a couple of honourable mentions. I've got two of them, in fact. Honourable mention number one is Who Framed Roger Rabbit from 1988, starring Bob Hoskins and Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, as I mentioned, these are all going to be first time watches that I'm talking about today, and this one I've heard a lot about, and I know a lot of people have love and nostalgia for this, but seeing it for the first time in 2023, I caught this on Disney Plus, which was in a 4K, and I will say that the restoration looked pretty darn awesome. Christopher Lloyd as the villain is absolutely terrific here. I loved him so much, and also Bob Hoskins I think does a really equally a great job as well. This was just a fun adventure movie that I really think if you haven't seen it, definitely give it a shot. Honourable mention number two, I have to give a shout out to my brother Noran Rad89 over on his channel, as he talked about a movie and I thought, okay, I'm going to check this one out. It's called Mayhem from 2017 and it stars Stephen Young from The Walking Dead and Samara Weaving. Basically the plot of this one is these two people are in an office, a virus breaks out, they're stuck in this office and they have to try to survive the night. This was just a fun, bloody movie. This kind of went under the radar. I got a chance to check this one out. Definitely wasn't disappointed. It is just fun filled. I would have liked it to have been explored a little bit longer, but ultimately I had a good time with this one. Now that the honourable mentions out the way, let's get into the top 10 list. Coming in at number 10 is a movie from 1986, and it was thanks to Richard G from RWR Reviews who brought me onto this movie, and that is called Cobra, starring Sylvester Stallone. Once again, it was in this kind of 80s period of Stallone where he was just kicking ass, and this movie is absolutely no different. It's a little bit more violent than some of his other stuff at around this time, but it is a movie that I didn't really know much about going into it, but after checking it out, I had a good time. Stallone plays a really cool character, of course, like cool shades and everything like that you kind of expect to be in like the 80s, and overall I had actually fun with this one, and I enjoyed seeing Stallone in something other than kind of Rambo or Rocky. So yeah, Cobra earns the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9 is a movie released in 2021, which I actually missed at the time, and I'm a little bit gutted that I did. I got sent a screener, but I didn't get a chance to check it out until this year. I checked it out with my partner Emma, and that is called The Sadness, which is a Taiwan horror, and basically it's about this kind of virus breaking out and just this absolute rampage. And I will say, this has got to be one of the goriest movies that I've probably ever seen. Like they absolutely don't hold back here. It was just a very kind of fun, bloody movie, which was just over the top in its kind of excess gore, but also, if you like that, then you're definitely going to have a good time with this one. Definitely made me want to explore more of kind of Taiwan horror and what they have to offer, but the sadness was definitely an experience that I won't forget. Coming in at number 8 is a movie that my partner Emma introduced me to, and actually was released in 2001, and as soon as this movie played, I was a bit like, am I really gonna like this movie? But you know, I'm kind of open to anything, give it a chance. It actually stars Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway, and it is called The Princess Diaries. Now this movie I was kind of taken back by after watching it, because I found myself chuckling quite a lot. I think both of them have really great chemistry together, and it's nice to see Julie Andrews in another movie. And Anne Hathaway, of course, was a lot younger here, but she had the makings of, you know, like a star rise in power. And yeah, this is just a fun movie. This was on Disney Plus. I gotta catch this. The kind of restoration, the Blu-ray 4K kind of quality, whatever it was there, it was really good. It looked good as well, and also it just was a nice feel-good story. Yeah, you can probably tell where the movie's going to go, really, but overall, I actually had a lot of fun with this one. Number 7 is a movie I got to check out on the Tyneside Cinemas Halloween all-night event, which was a mystery movie shown on 35mm print, which I've heard is actually quite rare. And this is a shout out to Rashad G, because I know he loves this movie, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, I believe, from 1987. And this was a very fun movie. I will be honest, I've only ever seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and that was it. I haven't seen number 2. This was a mystery movie, remember, so I didn't even know this was going to be shown. But once it finished, I was like, wow, I actually prefer that over the original, and that might be a hot take, but I just think that this was a fun movie. Kincaid absolutely stole the show. Plenty of times I found myself laughing, but also I was equally impressed by the impressive kills that are on display, and especially for being in like the 80s, just kind of the practical effects that also was displayed was just throughout. I was like, wow, like even in 23, it still holds up. It was just so well done. A fun movie that I actually do want to revisit at some point, because I just found myself having a great time with this one. Coming in at number 6, as we start to approach the top 5, is a movie I watched on a Patreon watch along. Guys, if you haven't joined Patreon, join the link down below, click it, you can get involved in these Patreon watch alongs. I watched it with my good friend Ryan from RWR Movie Reviews, and that is the 1988 movie Twins. Yeah, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, whereas them two basically go on a quest to find their real mom. And this was just a laugh out loud, hilarious start all the way up until the finish, and there's just so many kind of different scenes and scenarios that play out, and you just think, these two are twins? Like, the premise is absolutely ridiculous, and these two being like real twins again, it's just a ridiculous premise, but it works so well. It's cheesy, it's corny, it's just 80s fun. It knows exactly what it is, and it just plays that up to a T. And I absolutely love this movie. I just thought that this was a hilarious time. I actually found myself pretty much like non-stopping, like laughing a lot of this one. So Twins was a great time, and I absolutely can't wait to check it out again. Do you want access to early videos you won't ever see here onto the channel? Well, click the link down below in the description box today and join my Patreon. With memberships only starting from £1 per month, you get so much extra stuff, and it costs less than 1 coffee per day. And I'd also like to give a quick thank you to all my awesome patrons who help to really support the channel and who are also reaping all these benefits, so join them today. We've reached that time in the video where we've come to the top 5 movies. At number 5 was also a kind of watch along with a friend, D Movieman. So a shout out to D Movieman. It is the 2012 movie Looper. And I remember when this one came out, I also remember it being on DVD and Blu-ray, and I used to work in a CD DVD shop when this actually came out. And I'd never checked it out. It was always a one I was always intrigued by and wondered, okay, you know, like, is this going to be actually any good? Like, you know, the hype that this movie's had, like, is it actually warranted? And I will definitely say it is. Yeah, I had a great time with this one. It's called starring Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Definitely a time travel sci-fi kind of based movie, so if you like that genre, I think that you'll definitely find a lot of enjoyment in here. If you don't like that genre, I still think that this is a one where it makes you think about certain elements that happen. At the end of it, it kind of leaves you with emotions being like, oh wow, you know, like this character or this character, and how you feel as the journey goes along throughout. And I just think that this is kind of just a really interesting concept that, you know, whenever anything kind of time travels involved, you guys know my favorite movie is Back to the Future. I'm absolutely on board, and I can definitely say I had a great time with this one. I didn't really feel as if there was too much like length on it or runtime or anything. I think I would have liked the movie to actually been a little bit longer and explored a couple of more things, but besides that, yeah, Looper was a fantastic time. Coming in at number 4 was a Patreon suggestion. So again, guys, Patreon, click the link down below. You can suggest movies for me to watch. This was suggested by my good friend Ryan Swales, and he suggested the movie Rodhouse from 1989, starring Patrick Swayze as Dalton. And this was a blast. I had a great time watching this one, and this movie, I'd heard so many stuff about it. I knew so much about it. I know Cinematic Tendency, my friend, also loves this movie. And I just had a great time with this. Like, as the movie progressed, it was fun. The soundtrack was awesome. Like, the set pieces were really cool. The action sequences were so well done. The story, I found myself really invested and caring about it as well. Also, there is just a great cameo, and it is just so much fun, and a movie I absolutely can't wait to own on physical media at some point. But definitely check out Rodhouse. So what makes the top 3 movies that I've seen for the first time? Well, coming in at number 3 was a first ever time watch on the big screen, and a first time watch in general, and this is from 1973, starring Bruce Lee, and that movie is called, right here, I'll get it out for you guys, Enter the Dragon. And this was to mark like a celebration, I believe, 50 years. Yeah, 50 years exactly, sorry. Since the movie was released, they showed this on a 4K restoration, and I will say the movie looked absolutely stunning. Now, I've never seen any of Bruce Lee's previous work, but of course he has a huge legacy behind him. So when this movie showed, I was like, okay, well, let's get an introduction to him. Let's see like what it is all about. Let's see like kind of what the hype is all about regarding Bruce Lee. And I can say I had a phenomenal time with this movie. I found myself chuckling. I found myself really impressed by the kind of stunt work and the kind of choreography, and just the story itself is kind of like a simple one, but also a really entertaining one. There was moments I found myself like, wow, like the audience I saw this with was like chuckling. They were loving it as well. Also, it was cool to see Jackie Chan in here, and I did not expect that whatsoever. But this was just a very fun time. As soon as I saw it, I was like, right, I definitely need the physical media copy of this, and also made me want to really check out more of Bruce Lee's choreography and his kind of martial arts styles, and how he kind of employs that in the choreography set pieces throughout the movie and movies for that example. And yeah, this was definitely a very fun introduction to Bruce Lee. We've made it to the top 2, and coming in at number 2 was also part of Tyneside Cinema's Halloween all-nighter event, which was a mystery movie. And as soon as it played, I was like, oh no. But not in a bad way, but because I haven't seen the first movie, and I still have not seen the first movie. This one, however, was released in 1983, starring Anthony Perkins, and that is Psycho 2, and it comes in at number 2. So, not seen the original Psycho. Now, of course, I've seen like famous clips and scenes, and this one definitely gives you kind of like a quick recap on what happened in that first original Psycho movie. And I was thinking, when the title came up, oh no, I've still not seen the first movie. I'm going to be completely lost here. I'm not going to know exactly what's going to go on in this movie here, and it's just going to be a terrible experience. But oh boy, was I wrong. This was utterly fantastic. I found myself gripped throughout the entire movie. Anthony Perkins did a great job as Norman Bates, and this of course carries on a story from that original Psycho movie. And I know there's been a lot of love for this. I know like Nolan Rad, for example, loves this movie, and I can absolutely see why. I found this movie to be tense. It was gripping. It also had great moments of comedy, which probably wasn't even meant to be, but it definitely played out in 2023. Some great comedic moments. I also found myself really caring about the character of Norman Bates, feeling sorry for him, feeling angry at him, and just a wide range of different emotions. And there's definitely some twists and turns here that was revealed throughout the story as the movie plays out, which I did not expect. So having those kind of twists and turns was really also a pleasant surprise. And by the end of it, I was like, wow, I really want to own this movie and I really want to watch it again. And this was a great time. The only negative I had was really the ending. There's something that feels kind of shooed in right at the end, which I didn't like, but it's kind of understandable for what I was. But Psycho 2, a great movie. We've finally made it. If you're still watching at this point, thank you so much for watching as we talk about the #1 movie that I saw in 2023 for the first time ever that was not released in 2023. It's a movie actually released in 2021 starring Stephen Graham. I caught this on Netflix, and that movie is called Boiling Point. Yeah, so Boiling Point, if you don't know what it's about, basically Stephen Graham plays a chef. Now, he is a chef in, I believe it's like London restaurant, and this story focuses him as a chef for one night in this kitchen, which is basically shot in one entire shot completely, like a bit like 1917 where it's just like shot all in kind of like one take. This is basically the exact same thing, but set in a kitchen restaurant. Now, in this night that happens, so much stuff happens where there's definitely like Easter eggs. There's points where if you're very careful and you're watching, you'll notice that X thing leads to X thing and this leads to this. And I'm not going to say too much for spoilers, but going into this, I'd heard pretty good things. I'd heard it's been kind of like tension, suspense filled, and like very kind of emotional. And I will say this is an absolute roller coaster of a movie, but in a very good way. Stephen Graham is phenomenal here. Probably the best role I've personally seen him in. And he's a great actor to start with. But this movie was tense. It was gripping. It was suspenseful. Every time that a different scene plays out, or you as the audience gets the insight into being like, oh, this is going to happen, so this is going to lead to something wrong. You're kind of like on the edge of your seat being like, oh no. Like, I found myself like kind of gripped and gasped like this quite a few times, or shouting at the TV screen as the movie played out. And the cool thing is, I got to experience this with my partner Emma, who also hadn't seen it, and we both absolutely love this movie, and it's a one I definitely need to add to the physical media collection. And if you've not seen it, I absolutely can't recommend it enough. So I hope that you enjoyed this list, and I just thought this was a little bit of a different idea, but also maybe give you guys 10 movie recommendations of ones I've seen this year for the first time ever. I hope you enjoyed it. What is your top 10 movies you've seen this year for the first time ever that was not released in the year 2023? Well, let me know down below in the comment section, and let me know your thoughts on the movies that I recommended and mentioned in my list. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button down below, and until the next time, I'll see you guys. I'll be seeing you later.